1943 was operating Avro Lancasters at No. 1 Group Bomber Command. It is early morning. The day shift has taken over from the night, fitting a Rolls-Royce Merlin engine to replace one damaged in action. There are two Lancaster squadrons based at Hemswell, 150 and 170, with a nominal establishment of 20 aircraft each. There are only two spare bombers available. And although aircraft lost in action are replaced, the squadrons are expected to maintain their operational strength by local repair. To achieve this, RAF fitters work around the clock, for this is the time when night after night the signal maximum effort accompanies the operational orders from Bomber Command. In times of peace, an engine change could take a week. During World War II, it is achieved in just 5 hours. Operational bombers rarely come into the hangars, all routine servicing and minor repairs being undertaken at the dispersal points around simply wear out, for the operational life expectancy of a averaged only 40 hours flying time. The losses in the main. To help counter these attacks, this group replaces the four 303 guns in the rear turrets with twin 50s which have a far greater hitting power. The work of maintaining and loading the guns is carried out by the armourers. Here the hydraulic elevation of the gun. But a far more effective defense for the bombers comes not from the armourers, but from the scientists with RCM. Radio counter. These are the electronic weapons of the secret war that is to move in the night sky with whispered code names: Oboe, G, H2S and Window, all used either to confuse the defences or to guide the bombers to the target and home again. An operational RAF bomber station and its satellites has a strength of 2,600 officers and men, all directly or indirectly servicing the aircraft and their crews. Among them, the photographic section, who now arrive with cameras which provide an important means of checking the crew's performance. But what we've seen is only the tip of a complex organisation. Bawtry Hall, headquarters of No. 1 Group Bomber Command. The day at Group begins, like all others in 1944, in evaluating and analysing the results of last night's raid, while the staff are awaiting the signal from Bomber Command which will contain the details. Among the RAF officers at Group Headquarters are civilian statisticians and liaison officers from the other services. In this case, a major from the Army's Anti-Aircraft Command, who together with other members of the staff are preparing a comprehensive report on last night's raid by this group's aircraft. The WAF Flight Officer Photographic Interpreter has plotted on last night's target map the release point of each aircraft's bombs as revealed by the automatic cameras for examination by the group's Air Officer Commanding. And the maps and photographic prints are taken to the AOC's meeting. The AOC, an Air Commodore and a pilot himself, is experienced in photographic interpretation. Photographic reconnaissance aircraft have been over the target at first light. Their evidence in camera often differs from the aircrew's sometimes over-optimistic claims on debriefing. The AOC now critically examines the post-raid covers. The photographic interpreter has plotted the individual hits on the target. AP is the briefed aiming point of the raid. The bombing accuracy is examined stereoscopically and the results discussed. The results of last night's raid are now solely the concern of the strategists at Bomber Command Headquarters. In the operations room at Bawtry, the staff are receiving details of tonight's target. It's to be the big city, Berlin, and is a maximum effort raid. At this moment, There are just 6 hours before the first of the group's bombers will take off. Before that lies a great deal of preparation and detailed planning. The distance to the target is measured, and the fuel and bomb load is computed. The targets will now be revealed to the waiting squadron commanders. To do this, the operations officer sets up a simultaneous telephone and teleprinter net to notify all number 1 group squadrons on nearby operational airfields. The operation continues as the intelligence officer calls for Berlin photo reconnaissance photographs and the target maps for the AOC's mid-morning planning for tonight's raid. The detailed targets and aiming points for number 1 group will... The maps are therefore checked and compared with photographs of the previous raid on this target. Then they're taken to the meeting. The AOC's conference is vital, for it coordinates the aircraft from number 1 group with bombers from other groups also taking part in the raid. Night bombers fly largely unseen from one another. Therefore, a precise plan of courses, timings, altitudes and speed is required to concentrate the raid and avoid collision. There will be 600 bombers over the target in just a 20-minute period. To achieve this degree of concentration, the first essential is to know what the weather will be, en route to, over, and back from the target. The Met Office is one of the few departments at Group staffed by civilians. The senior Met Officer discusses the forecast with his staff and then takes the synoptic chart to the conference to give the AOC a Met briefing for the raid. Because the European weather systems tend to move from west to east, the RAF enjoys an advantage over the Luftwaffe. However, weather forecasting in 1944 still contains an element of luck. The AOC knows this and consults his private Met sources. Thus informed, the weather is discussed. The main concern is the danger of fog. During the conference, the AOC receives a course alteration from Bomber Command, possibly as a result of a photographic reconnaissance unit sortie. By 1944, radar aids to navigation, H2S, G and oboe, have enabled the Pathfinder aircraft to drop TIs, that is, target indicator flares, with near pinpoint accuracy. This aiming point is chosen because the river will give a good return on the aircraft's H2S radar, helping the navigators to get a precise fix. But there's a long run up over a concentration of heavy flak. In the group operations room, the staff begin the detailed planning. The naval officer is coordinating a mine-laying operation in the Baltic. The crew composition of each aircraft of the group squadrons is compiled from the nominal rolls supplied overnight from the airfields. Nearly all of the crews will have been over Germany during the past week at least once, possibly twice, though some will be going on their first operation, replacing crews that didn't return. For each Lancaster missing, 7 aircrew go missing with it. The operations officer is writing up the Form B, the detailed operations for each squadron. A task requiring great concentration. The completed form is checked by the Chief Operations Officer. Form B contains details of bomb loads to be carried by each individual bomber of the group. Form is signed and countersigned. The orders are now official and are taken to the teleprinter room to be transmitted simultaneously over secure lines to the squadrons based on the Lincolnshire airfields of number 1 group. North Killingholme, East Kirby, Fiskerton, Elsham Wolds, Cummington, Binbrook, Faldingworth, Wickenby and Hemswell. RAF Hemswell, near Gainsborough, is one of the 50 operational airfields of Bomber Command which this morning in 1944 are preparing for tonight's attack on Germany. A Lancaster is being fueled. It will take practically the entire 2,500-gallon load from this tanker. The wings of the Lancaster contain the fuel tanks, holding 2,154 imperial gallons. From intelligence reports and examination of crashed Lancasters, the German night fighter pilots know exactly where to aim their 20mm cannon.
Okay, port.
Though officially only the squadron commanders at Hemswell as yet know of tonight's target, the shrewd airmen on the tankers will have got a good idea from the fuel loads ordered for the bombers. Full tanks mean long range, probably Berlin. The bomb dump. This is protected by blast walls and is well away from the aircraft and other airfield installations. These are 500-pound general-purpose demolition bombs. They are unfused and are considered, at least by the armourers, safe. "500-pounders form the basis of most bomb loads and are loaded 6 at a time onto special trolleys. A 4,000-pound cookie. The cookie is principally a blast bomb, designed to explode on contact and has a thin case. Even though unfused, 4,000 pounds of amatol demands and the tractor towing the 500-pounders remains at a discreet distance until the cookie is safely stowed on its trolley. The armourers are assembling the bomb load for a single Lancaster, 12 500-pounders and a single 4,000-pounder, 10,000 pounds of high explosive. A modest load for a Lancaster which can, with little modification, lift the gigantic 22,000-pound Grand Slam earthquake bombs. The fusing hut. There are several different types of fuses which can be fitted to the bombs, detonating them either on impact or delaying their explosion for hours or even days in order to cause maximum disruption to the enemy. The transit plugs are removed from a cookie. The detonator pockets are examined, and then the detonators and firing pistols are fitted. The small windmill will arm the bomb during its fall from 20,000 feet. It is temporarily wired up to prevent the wind or an aircraft slipstream inadvertently arming the bomb during transit. Each of these trains is a single Lancaster bomb load, some with high explosives, some with boxes of incendiaries, some a combination of both. A Lancaster stands at dispersal with its bomb doors open and a party of armourers waiting. The tractor with its bomb train arrives. It then makes a complete circuit of the bomber, not for any ritualistic purpose, but simply to place the trolleys with the 10,000 pounds of bombs ahead of the aircraft, it being impossible for the tractor to reverse 4 trolleys. Manhandling the fused bombs is hard and exacting. On a single day, in all weathers, at this one airfield, 40 Lancasters would be bombed up, a considerable physical labour for the armourers. The aircraft lifts the cookie with its own winches. It's a tight fit. The smaller bombs follow. Even the slight incline of the dispersal makes the armourer's task harder. The 500-pound bombs are fitted in pairs to carriers which contain the electrical release mechanism. These are conversions, originally designed for single 1,000-pound bombs which the RAF no longer use. Consequently, the carriers can cause the armourers problems. As the bombs are winched up, care has to be taken that they do not foul the aircraft structure. An unofficial aid is the aircraft's crew ladder. Bombing up is not only hard physical work, it is also dangerous. Due to electrical and mechanical faults, bombs can and have fallen, injuring the armourers. On the 15th of March 1943, a 4,000-pound cookie exploded during loading at Scampton. Several men were killed, 6 Lancasters were totally destroyed, and another 5 badly damaged. Just a fraction of the 2,700,000 tons of high explosive dropped on German targets during World War II. This Lancaster is fueled, tested, bombed up, and awaits its crew. It is now late afternoon. Pilots, navigators, and bomb aimers are called to the briefing. They arrive by lorry or on the ubiquitous issue bicycles, without which no RAF station, most covering some 500 acres, could function. The pilot with the dog is Flight Lieutenant Harris, captain of V Victor. As they enter the briefing hut, most of the aircrew will have got the buzz that tonight's target is probably Berlin, not a popular trip. Their hopes or fears will in a moment be confirmed, as all eyes on entering the hut seek the large wall map. It shows beyond all doubt that the target is Berlin. The crews are called to attention as the base, station, and squadron commanders enter. Military protocol having been observed, the briefing now begins. First, the Met man. There is a cold front across the North Sea in this position, but moving eastwards. Weather for takeoff is okay.
The anticyclone has been head over the last few days. It's drifted a little bit east-southeast.
The aircrews take careful notes.
And then we've got
The weather is of vital importance, not that they consider the Met man infallible, far from it, but one always hopes.
going up.
Icing level, 5,000 feet. Over the target, conditions should be fair with only the chance of broken cloud. And leaving the target, the cold front will have to be recrossed. Met over base on return is doubtful. Late returns could encounter fog. Any questions? Thank you. After the Met officer, the flying control officer. His responsibility will be to get Hemswell's 40 heavy bombers started up and taxied from their dispersals to a split-second stream takeoff without wasting time and fuel. All without the aid of radio, for the enemy is known to be listening to glean any clues that might indicate tonight's target. The main east-west runway is to be used, and the control officer warns about late departures from the distant dispersals and concludes by reminding his crews that the later takeoffs will be at dusk.
And we'll let you know your target area and time of takeoff then.
The intelligence officer. His brief comes from many sources: photographic reconnaissance, crew debriefing, agents, the code breakers. The route that the bombers will follow is transferred from the wall map to the navigator's charts. They also note many vital details: the position of route marker flares, known concentrations of flak, Night fighter bases. The frequency and identification of radio aids, G.